cool. And I've got Vitalia Pundyk here with me, and my head looks like it's chopped off from the video. I'm going to sit over here. You would love to learn about this lady in the next 15 minutes, might be even less. I don't know. But we met each other a couple of years ago, and I just thought it was your turn to be in the limelight because you always put everyone else in the limelight. And she's got a gazillion businesses, it seems. I'm trying to learn from her. Vitalia, tell me for starters, well, tell them a little bit more about Power Talk seminars, because that's what I think is kicking butt.
Sure, thank you. What can I say? Power Talk Seminars is my primary speaking company. I speak on leadership, communication, sales training, team building, goal achievement strategies. And I also offer a professional development platform. It's called the Power Talk Power Club. So the Power Talk Power Club is really a great opportunity that I share with other professional and aspiring professional speakers, coaches, authors, visionary thought leaders, small business owners, and entrepreneurs. It's very similarly loosely based on a Toastmasters format in terms of providing presentations and getting feedback. It's similarly very loosely associated, well, not associated, but I would say formatted a little bit like BNI, because we do believe in supporting each other through self-promotions, referrals, business commercials. But my club is not affiliated with either one, although it's open to everyone.
That's the thing, is it's fun.
Well, that's the best part of it, Lily, because we also do social things too that are a lot of fun.
It's a nice blend with the formats too, because if you don't like Zoom, then you show up at her home. This is really cool. Or even sometimes at where are some of the conference places?
So we hold our Power Talk Power Day at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Bloomington. We do club member appreciation celebrations, our annual paddle boat cruise out on Lake Minnetonka. We have holiday parties that we host. We have a fall conference that we've been doing every year. So we offer, I think, a lot of extra things for our club members to be able to interact with one another outside of the club meeting programs themselves. But you mentioned something that I think is really helpful for our audience to know, is that we do offer both Zoom meetings and the in-person. So like you mentioned, here we are at my home. I invited Norm and Lily over for dinner. So we are in our rec room here. You see the bar is open. This is the room where we have our quarterly dinner meetings. And then we host our pizza programs over at Frankie's Chicago Style Pizza in New Hope.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of fun. So that's a little bit more towards the Twin Cities area. Since we live way out in Hutchinson, we figured we can also do something closer in the metro area. And then, of course, our Zoom meetings as well for those who maybe still want to stay at home for the early morning sessions.
And who knows, maybe she was your Spanish teacher at some point.
At some point.
She might have been in a Ukrainian club with you when you were, I don't know, 10 or something. You might have met her as a first-generation American thing. I don't know. The possibilities are endless. Now, what was the best part about teaching? It was high school Spanish, wasn't it?
I was a licensed K through 12 Spanish teacher, and then I also taught higher ed. So in various colleges, I was an adjunct faculty member, teaching specialist. Then I became a full-time associate professor at Camden County College in New Jersey. And then in the state of Arkansas, I was a statewide, a district-wide administrator for a K through 12 program that we were implementing there, but it was the first of its kind in the state of Arkansas before I actually moved back home to Minnesota. So yeah, teaching is in my background, and I think that probably is what helped me to transition to do some of the professional speaking that I do, because you're always up in front of an audience, in front of the classroom.
That's very true.
So it's very natural.
Yeah, and it's like, she gives amazing feedback. You never feel like you're being raked over the coals. I mean, I remember being in a networking meeting for somebody else and didn't even know she was taking notes on what I could do differently, but she structured it perfectly. She was super encouraging. I had a lot to take away from it. I thought it was it made me want to speak more and not hide myself. It was really cool, and I can see why she loves teaching. I mean, really, it just like
Thank you.
yeah, it just oozes out of you, and it's really it's rare. I can't say that I love teaching everything. I haven't seen you not love teaching something.
If it's something that I'm passionate about, for example, I really enjoy teaching Spanish or presentation skills or how to get started in your own professional speaking career. If there are things that I'm good at, I like being able to share that to help other people achieve that if they're interested too. So I think I'm really driven by helping other people achieve their goals.
Yeah, I would say that's a fair
It's,
assessment. And even your newest company,
yes.
that she combined, I don't even know how she does it. I thought my brain worked in webs. She combines a side business they have, her knowledge of the beauty industry, her love of hanging out with some great gal friends, and passion for fashion. Oh, that rhymes. Tell them about that.
Oh, thank you. So I recently just launched another business, and I call it Beauty and Beyond, bringing out the best in you. And this was really a brainchild of mine that I had been thinking about and creating and entertaining as a result of actually working with one of my former business partners. Some of you may know her, Julie Hill from Inspired Thinking. She and I would present workshops together for women ages 18 to 80, size 2 to 22, and everyone in between on the topics of beauty, fashion, health, and wellness. And I worked with Julie for gosh, it was 10 years actually, and it was some of the most amazing 10 years of my professional speaking career. I had so much fun. It was really Julie that I think introduced me more to speaking to women audiences, even though I had done so in the past with other speaking companies. But something in the last year or two that we were working together really kicked in for me, where I really started to just have a desire and created this passion. It started to grow in me where I wanted to eventually maybe branch off and do something of my own, something that I could offer and delve into those topics even further and even deeper. So when Julie and I completed our alphabet series of workshops, which was our favorite quick tips, A through Z quick tips on beauty, fashion, health, and wellness, we celebrated Julie's birthday, and then we said we're going to continue to support one another. And so she's pursuing health and wellness and the yoga field with Inspired Thinking. And I took some time off. I took about a year to really develop some additional workshops and keynotes. And I wanted to get out there again in front of other women audiences. So Beauty and Beyond offers women's workshops, wardrobe consultations, and in the future will also include some weekend retreats.
That was cool.
I tell you, Lily, I wanted to do that because I have had so much experience moving and having to organize my closets, my wardrobe so often. And I finally have really a closet that I love, clothes that I enjoy wearing. And I thought that is something that I can help others with too. So that's one of my primary services with Beauty and Beyond. And then I offer workshops and keynotes where I can be hired to speak for other women's organizations or put on some of my own events as well. So you can get more information on my website at www.beautyandbeyondllc.com.
It's just, and the neat thing is she walks her talk. I mean, if you hear her speaking to the rest in her company, wherever you hear her, you can tell she's got a passion for it. It's not like listening to a robot. I've seen people who you wonder why they're in the business or you wish they would get out quickly, but no, it's amazing. I mean, you feel energized listening to her. Plus, she knows the business inside out. I mean, I love listening for speakers and trying to figure out what industry they belong in. She'd be one to talk with, right? In fact, she's got the Speakers Biz. I don't even know if I called it that.
The Speaker Biz Institute.
Oh my God. And one of her star pupils is now all over Amazon with their books. Diane Windingling, you'll have to check her out because she's the absolute prodigy of what
Well,
Vitalia is about.
you know, I cannot take credit for all of Diane's successes. I had a small part in helping her potentially get a start, and we do consider her really our all-time valedictorian because she really followed through and implemented so many of the suggestions and the things that we offered through our school at the Speaker Biz Institute. The Speaker Biz Institute is where I help professional and aspiring professional speakers get their start in a professional speaking career. So yes, I have my own primary speaking company, Power Talk Seminars. You can get information at powertalkseminars.com. I have the Speaker Biz Institute, which coaches others who want to begin a professional speaking career, how to get started in the professional speaking industry. So you can get website information at speakerbiz.net. And then just something that I'm passionate about, that I really have fun speaking on: beauty, fashion, health and wellness, family, finances, relationships, and recreation through Beauty and Beyond. And I think the core message with Beauty and Beyond is that the beauty comes from the inside. That really comes from the heart. And anything else that we address in terms of beauty, fashion, health, and wellness, it's all those things that can enhance our lives, that can enhance how we feel about ourselves, our confidence, and can enhance our attractiveness. But I always want the message to be about beauty being more about kindness and what's in our heart.
That's pretty darn cool. I gotta say that one thing I tried to emulate of what she does, she's told me that she writes out her speeches in entirety, I think.
I do.
Yeah, I'm not quite there. I have written out parts of it, and I have practiced parts of my speech. The one time I really messed up last time was I ran it through in my head, and I practiced the first half and not the second half. It's like giving somebody a messed up puzzle and asking them, "Can you see what it's supposed to be?" Yeah. So I think I better work harder on writing it out completely. It's just, do you remember any big mess ups you've ever had with speaking?
Oh, sure. So yes, while it's true, I've always written out every one of my speeches word for word. There's a lot of great benefit to that because it helps me to recall and retain the information. I go over it, the repetition, reading through it all. I can save that information and use it as an article, a blog, a chapter in a book. If I have the speech written out and I ever have to give a talk on it again, I can go back to it instead of starting from scratch. I can just tweak it where necessary. But there was a time when I used to memorize verbatim, word for word. I don't necessarily recommend that. I recommend it if you're going to be in a Toastmasters speech contest, for example. It's a different style, I think, of speaking that's expected in that kind of a platform. If you're shuffling with your notes to do a speech contest, it doesn't seem like you're really prepared. And a speech contest is generally only 5 to 7 minutes, and everything in the speech contest is usually choreographed. Hand gestures, pausing, where you're going to stand on the stage. There are a lot of things that you do want to have memorized, certain phrases that should be emphasized a certain way. And if you don't practice and memorize it that way, they might lose the impact that you had intended with the message. But I would memorize my speeches word for word, and then I would have to practice trying to make them sound conversational. That was hard. Sometimes I was successful and sometimes not. It sounded very robotic, and there was a disconnect that just didn't resonate with the audience. So I was probably the most well-rehearsed, most practiced speaker out there, and it sounded like it. Because I was more concerned with being polished and how I would come across. I wanted to impress everybody rather than impress upon them the message that was really important for them to learn. And that was hard for me. You know, it took me probably a good 3 years to recognize that, to learn that the speeches aren't about me and that I don't have to be perfect. People don't relate to perfect people. That the message and the speech is really about the audience. What are they going to take away from it? You know, what's in it for them? But that only came with experience and wisdom and a little bit more maturity as I got older. When I was younger, I was more self-centered. I wanted to be the star on stage. But as you get older, you start recognizing there isn't any value in that for people. They don't care about who you are or what you've achieved. They want to know who you are and what you can do for them.
Yeah, that's so true.
And once I started giving presentations from more of that service perspective, I really started to resonate more with the audience, and I learned that audiences can be very forgiving, that they can look past a lot of imperfections. Now, if it's a paying audience, though, they do expect high quality I mean, every one of your audiences should get high quality presentations. But if you are there to show up for them, they will be there to support you as well. They want you to do well.
I like it. It's, as long as you're relatable. I mean, geez.
Right.
And it's the other we were talking about businesses, and I had asked you if you were to create a business for your husband Roman, who's also Ukrainian, what would it be? I mean, imagine this awesome, smart guy who loves cars, who loves helping with Legal Shield. That's one of his businesses. Loves helping with Power Talk seminars. He's great at cooking, etc. So a million other things.
Well, you mentioned it, Lily. My husband is great at a lot of things, and his birthday was last week. So I don't know if you can see right behind me. For his birthday, I gave him this Superman doll because he really is my hero. He is my Superman. And I think if I were to create a business for him, it really would be to be, if he could, in some way, a hero that he is for me to everyone. I think everyone needs a hero like my husband Roman, because I really love him. He does just so many wonderful things for me and in my life. He is my Superman. So a great business for him would be something that he can do to serve others, because he also comes from a real heart of giving and generosity and wanting to help people. Having said that, he also has many talents. He does enjoy cooking. I don't think he'd like to be in the restaurant business, but it's been suggested and recommended to him, maybe catering, and that's a lot of work. But I think if he could just have like a Roman's burger and beer joint, that would be kind of fun. Something like that would be really fun. But, if there was a business for superheroes, I think my husband would be number one leading that pack.
That would be so cool. And if yes, we'll be closing up in a moment or two, but hang around here because this is amazing stuff. What would somebody say what would be I can't even speak English. It is my second language, but first two. Let's say you were doing XYZ. Who would be surprised that you're doing XYZ? Or not believing that you're doing XYZ?
So I thought about this question because you had sent me a few to think about before we got together, and it was something like fill in the blank, like people would be surprised to see me at. And I'm going to give you the shocker. This will be a real surprise probably for your audience. I think people would be surprised to see me at a gay 90s bar.
Really?
I'm not kidding you. Yep, I'm not kidding you. I think people would be very surprised. And I know that sounds like a surprising answer, but if they were to spot me there, they wouldn't believe it. And I think they would think, well, gosh, I don't see her going to the bar. I don't see her going to this show or doing that. I have been with some of my friends to the gay 90s and have had the best time. Yeah. I love the transvestite shows. Oh, yeah. I bring this up because there's been a lot about this in the news lately, and I don't support and care what I read or hear about is happening in our public schools. But in terms of shows and the theatrics and the makeup, some of these individuals are so talented. I love a good show. I haven't been there in a long time. So we'll see, we need to get a group to go. Yeah. We need to get a group to go. It would be so fun. The costumes are just beautiful. the talent, the skills in the lip syncing.
Yeah,
It's amazing,
kidding.
and you have the time of your life.
Yeah.
But when I talk to some people, some of my friends, like, hey, we should go to the gay 90s sometime. They're like, oh, I would never be there. Really? You go there? I'm very surprised, Vitalia.
wild.
I'm like, yep, I would do. So that's why I mention it, because when you ask what would people be surprised at, yeah.
I would totally picture you doing that. Yeah, I mean, it's like the performance aspect. Yeah.
People are surprised that I play blackjack. People are surprised that I have a permit to carry. People are surprised at maybe what I would support politically or not politically. People are surprised at what I do in my free time sometimes and where I travel. Or it's amazing what you don't know about people until you sit down like this and you get to get better acquainted.
I think the one thing I would be surprised at, because she's mentioned it would be a challenge, would be to meditate in the way of sitting back and totally chilling out for 20 minutes to a half hour. There are different ways to meditate, but if she picked that one, I don't know if she could handle it. Because, you know, her mind is all, well, not, it's not like you have to silence your mind, but I don't see you necessarily enjoying it. I don't know.
I do. I do meditate. I have, this is not the only room in my house. Just down the hall, I have what I call my Zen den. It's my cozy Zen den, and it's really where my office is. I get a lot of inspiration where I work there. And then I have a very cozy area by the fireplace and a waterfall. And I have all the feng shui things that are happening there. And then, of course, you asked me to show. I love to do coloring. I haven't started in this one yet, but I love to color. I love my markers and pencils and playing music in the background. So this is a little bit about, you know, how I chill. But I also have to tell you, my work, when I'm presenting speeches and workshops and putting all that together, that is also comforting for me too.
Yeah.
It's like a hobby for me.
It's true. It's true.
So it may not be relaxing, but my work is really my hobby too, so I enjoy it as well.
She's got a knack of focusing on things that she absolutely loves, or she won't do it, and I could learn from her on that one. Wow, these are thick pages. Oh, this is incredible. It's called Color It, Free Your Creativity, Color It, Free Your Creativity, Blissful Scenes, Adult Coloring Book. Who's it by?
I'm not real sure.
Well, whoever created it, way to go. This is published by Color. Oh, Hasbi, illustrated by Hasbi Mubarak. So way to go, Hasbi. Anyway, yeah. Have you ever mispronounced any English words because your parents were not from here?
Well, like you, English is not my first language. It's not my second language either. It's actually my third.
Yeah.
But I actually grew up reading before I could speak well English because my mom was an elementary school teacher. I'm a first-generation Ukrainian American. I was born here. My parents came here when they were children, but because I was born here, I'm first-generation Ukrainian American. My mom was a teacher. She would teach me to read. And I remember, though, sometimes making a few mistakes in terms of reading or speaking, actually. And I had a speech impediment, actually, when I was younger. Yeah. And so I spoke with an accent. That made things difficult for me in elementary school. I was picked on a lot. I had an unusual name. I had a speech impediment. I had a crooked tooth and an oversized bite. I was knock-kneed and had to wear brown, ugly corrective shoes. As a teenager, I had severe acne. So, you know, I had a lot of different challenges growing up throughout my childhood and teen years. So when it comes to, did I ever mispronounce or misspeak things? I did. I had to have speech classes to help me get rid of the impediment. I wasn't able to pronounce THs.
Huh.
So like the word father, I would say father.
Oh, okay.
That my THs sounded like D's. Instead of the word this or that, I would say this or that.
Okay.
So I had to work really hard to overcome that, but eventually I did. And
That's cool. I put the accent on the wrong syllable a lot of the time. Like I would be in with a food drive at a grocery store, and I'd say, "Would you like to contribute?" They
Oh,
said, "You mean contribute?" I thought,
oh, that's funny. Yes.
okay. I
Yes.
realized later, I think my parents' British English lessons sound more like, well, people from India sometimes emphasize the first
Oh,
syllable.
sure.
Either way, it's made it for an interesting
Yes.
experience.
Right.
Oh, one last thing. Do you have your shoe collection?
I do. Would you like to come and? I mean, I can't bring it here. You'd have to
Yeah.
follow me. So
I
we're
will.
really going to get very private because you're all going to be in my bedroom.
Okay.
I have 126 little miniature shoes. That doesn't include the wine bottle openers that I have on the bottom, or the ring holder shoots on the top, or any of the cards or the books,
Wow.
or the other little
Gorgeous.
furniture pieces. But 126 little miniature shoes.
That is amazing. Oh, wow. I wish some
So
of these were comfortable.
if I could have them in real life size, oh my goodness, I would just be like on cloud nine.
Ah. Now, if you would like to have a shoe-in to her wonderful new population of people with her new company,
Yes.
got to contact Vitalia, and I will put the details in the description section of this wonderful video. Thank you so much, Vitalia, for letting me interview you. That was so fun, especially seeing your coloring book and your shoes, but of course also hearing the other side of the companies that I've been enjoying watching you grow. Now, you guys, if you enjoyed the video, please click like, and double points for you if you send it to someone to subscribe or share it with someone. That'd be great. And if you're a new subscriber, I will mention you on my next video. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.